Well, we're confident that voters in Akron know the record that we have of achievement, of accomplishing things that are important to them. I've worked very hard on economic development to try to provide job opportunities for people. We've tried very hard to reorganize the police department and push them to change, to improve. Had resistance, sure, but we've tried very hard, and we think we've done a number of things to try to improve our neighborhoods and the whole community, and I hope that people notice, and we're believing that we've done a good job of trying to get that word out.
Mike Williams is running on the campaign of "It's time for a change." Other than longevity, what is the argument from your standpoint that says it's not time for a change?
Yeah, well, the voters decided that last year. They got change. They got Kasich. How'd that work out? That's basically should be our motto. You know, when voters just change just to change, sometimes they get what they don't really deserve and what they don't really want. And I think that's a great opportunity for us to use that as an example. Here's a legislator who's never run anything, done nothing but talk, and that's the same exact description that I would use of Kasich. The only thing he ran was not successful, and they went under. And here's a council person who has literally never run anything, had lower level, mid-level positions, just not something that shows a management history. And people can talk all they want, but doers get things done. And I think that's the difference. And we've tried to make that comparison and say, be careful. You know, it's nice to think about change. Well, we want change, but what does change get you? What has the person done to show that that change is going to be better? And I think that's the key issue. When you start to cast the ballot, is the person you're voting for going to improve your life, the neighborhood you're in, the city that you should be proud of? And I think when you look at our record, we know that we've done a good job. We've been nationally ranked. We have good statistics to show. Yes, we're in a recession. Yes, financial times are difficult, but that's across the world. It's not just here. It's in Spain, it's in Greece, it's in Germany, Japan, China. And so we're suffering the consequences of that. But other than that, we've done very well bringing in jobs, trying to build a foundation for success in the future.
You mentioned jobs. Mike Williams is saying that, well, really when you look at the statistics, the numbers aren't up, that as many jobs have left as have come here, that it's almost a level playing field, I guess. How do you respond to that? Do you agree with that or not?
Well, the jobs that we've lost in the last few years are because of the recession. People aren't buying as many goods. So people like the plastic lumber company, for instance, that used to sell many more picnic tables, don't sell as many picnic tables. They don't need as many employees. But that's not job loss for the kinds of things that in the past cities have been blamed for. People left the city because of something. We've worked very hard, 470 small businesses that my economic development staff have worked on. We've kept Goodyear, kept Bridgestone, Firestone. It's a record that really is without compare. You can't compare it to other cities, and yet he's playing on the fact that the whole country is down. That is not my fault. If anything, I would turn the tables and say, what has he done in the last 14 years? And I can tell you what it is. It's nothing. To bring jobs here, to help take vacation time, as other councilmen have done, to be with us on at trade shows, to even help small businesses here. We get calls from council members all the time. We have never received one call from Mr. Williams saying that he's talked to a business person that has concerns and, hey, could you help him? Not one. And he's been here 24 years.
There seems to be, I mean, it's been reported, some animosity between the two of you. He refers to you as combative and using bullying techniques. What do you respond, or how do you respond to what he says?
Well, I'm going to use a quote from the Beacon Journal. He's joined up with a small group of dissidents who have spread an amazing array of misinformation, exaggerations, and outright lies about me. I would ask the voting public, when you know for sure that someone makes up bald-faced lies about you, how would you react? And I guess I'm a normal human being. I didn't react real well and just accept that this is politics and that's the way it's played. It isn't played that way in Akron, Ohio. I have great respect for Marco Somerville. He doesn't lie. We argue, we battle on things, but we don't do it in a way that is hurtful, first of all, and secondly, is disrespectful of each other, because we know that we're both sincere people who believe strongly that we want to help make Akron better. But he's decided to join that group, and he himself has told some bald-faced lies. And there's no question about it. People in your business don't like people in my business saying that. But when it's the truth, it really is the truth. When you say the mayor of Akron has been out of town in a foreign country more often, more days than he's been in Akron, it's a bald-faced lie. Not by 3%, not by a small margin. It's a huge bald-faced lie. And the Beacon has said that about this group of people that he's aligned himself, the recall group.
So you think he's a liar, basically? Do you have
He
respect
hasn't.
for him or not? Or do you?
I have no respect for a person in the political arena or in the business arena that makes up lies and tells lies to get ahead. And that's what he's basically done. His first one was about Marco Somerville. His first one that convinced me of his lack of character was about an African-American leader in this community who's been out front on controversial issues, where Mr. Williams has not. He's hidden the bushes, not done anything to really be out there pushing an agenda that would help the community. I mean, 7 calls to 311 in the last 4 years. I think 11 or 14 calls to council turning in complaints, and 3 out of the 7 were for his own street, to get his street plowed. So he's not engaged with the community, and hasn't been for the last 10 years, in turning in complaints, trying to address problems. He can sit back and drive down a street and say, oh, I saw vacant homes on Ardella. To this day, he has still never turned in the addresses that he referred to in the debate on Ardella. He is a person that's trying to convince people with this veneer that he is somebody that has worked hard and wants to work hard for them without any record of working hard for them. He's all talk, and that's the problem.
And he's not qualified in your mind?
I don't think he's done a single thing to manage anything to show his qualifications to manage a 1,775 member organization, corporation, which is what municipal corporation, which is what the city is. And there isn't. Standing up and giving speeches in council and yet missing 43% of the committee meetings where the work is done over a 3.5-3 year period isn't leading, it isn't managing, it isn't showing anything except you can stand up and give a speech.
Do you
I need to. I mean, you guys are keep going down this path, and you keep going. I mean, it is what it is. So I just need to finish here.
Yeah,
she said a couple minutes.
Yeah, you wanted to. I wanted to ask you this because I asked him: are there any promises that you can make over the next 4 years to the residents of Akron? Because he's talking about no layoffs to police and fire, bringing in a youth safety director within his administration, and bringing his community or the office to the community into the wards every month. Those are some of his promises that he's making. What can you make as promises, or would you be willing to make?
Well, I don't make false promises. What I do is tell people that I'll work hard. I'll look out everywhere I can to find new ideas and be creative to save money for the taxpayers and make Akron better. It's a record that I have that I can not only just say at election time, but can prove we've done. And in response, I would say he has not introduced a single new idea in council in 14 years. Voters, look at the records.
In police and fire, can you make?
He hasn't said anything.
That's the promise.
There's no mayor in this country that can do that, and everyone knows that. When we get over about 10 years old, we know that we can't make wild promises that we can't keep. Mayors have done it. People have done it, and then they've changed, and they've flipped, and they've told the well, I didn't know this, and I didn't know that. Well, he's been on council 24 years. He knows what the budget is. Our service department has lost almost 40% of their personnel in the last 5 years. We've made cuts there. We still have to pick up glass in the park. We still have to scrape the snow off the street. We still have to fix chuck holes. Those things are all safety issues. So we need those workers as well. And I think that any politician, anyone running for office who would make a kind of commitment to say that he's going to absolutely do this, when mayors all over the country, mayor of Toledo, former fire chief, has had to say, I'm going to lay off. He's signed an order getting rid of the contract provision so he can move people around in an urgency, a state of emergency. So I think if, as adults, the voters have listened sometimes and bought these false promises. These are shallow, false promises that no human being can keep. If they want to do that, this is America, they have a right to do it. But I would ask them to please think seriously. Without knowing how many more cuts are coming from the federal government, knowing that the state is talking about a 50% cut in local government, that all goes to police and fire. $4 million and by the end of next year will be $4 million less in our police and fire departments, because all of that money goes there. How anyone could look themselves in the mirror after making that statement is beyond belief to me.